Next one is by Alan Watts. This then is the human problem. There is a price to be paid for every increase in consciousness. We cannot be more sensible to pleasure without being more sensitive to pain. Very interesting comment here, that when our awareness increases, it is widespread. It is all-encompassing. It is not that your level of awareness is more toward this set of people or things and less aware of that. When your awareness increases, it increases your awareness in all directions, which means if you are more aware of pleasure, you will be more aware of pain. You are more aware of peace, you are more aware of violence. Not that you engage in violence, but you are aware of what is violence. Violence may originate in your mind, and you may think that only violent act is what you do with your hands. Violence may be inherent in your speech. Similarly, pleasure. You are more aware of pleasure. Then you will also be more aware of absence of pleasure or pain. So being aware is not something same as being emotionally involved. You are aware of pain, but you are not suffering from pain. You are aware of pleasure, but you are not overtaken or overly influenced by pleasure or pursuit of pleasure. So here I think the hint is toward witnessing awareness that witnesses rather than is engaged in that aspect. When you are watching a game, you are paying attention. If somebody wins, your team wins, you are happy. If your team loses, you are sad. That is, you are watching. When you are witnessing that yes, this team is winning, that team is losing, and this is a good hit, that ball is thrown very far. You are simply aware of all aspects of the game or all aspects of your life. But you are not influenced, you are not overtaken, you are not captured by each category of incidents. So this is a little subtle, but I hope I managed to convey a glimpse of it. Swami Vivekananda says, there are journeys of consciousness that no one can take but you. There are no such things as failures in this world. There are only lessons and opportunities. Good moral in this statement is that journey to consciousness. In other words, if somebody else is more aware, enlightened, that doesn't make you enlightened. You have to do your own practice, your own journey, your own effort, your own motivation, your own conviction. That will take you there. You may learn some techniques, you may have a positive effect based on your company, the books you read, the music you listen to. But that is not enough. You have to have a personal fire, personal desire to reach that goal. So what Swami Vivekananda is saying is that journey to consciousness no one can take on your behalf. You have to do it yourself. And then the lesson is there are no such thing as failures in this world. There are only lessons and opportunities, because from failures you learn not to repeat the mistake and move forward toward progress. And from that failure, you can imagine or create new opportunities, not only to avoid failures, but also how to succeed in what you want to accomplish. This is a short quotation by Michael Talbot. The supernatural is just the natural, not yet understood. In other words, what we call mystery, mystical, supernatural, beyond our reach, beyond our understanding, is very natural, but we haven't understood it. Once we understand, as our understanding increases, what was previously supernatural actually appears natural to you. So supernatural is maybe a misplaced emphasis. Everything is natural, but we don't understand it fully. So when you understand fully, everything is natural. There is nothing supernatural. Another one with Michael Talbot. The new physics suggests that consciousness itself enters into the workings of the physical world and affects it. There is no one reality. Matter, space and time all owe their existence to consciousness. When he's saying there is no one reality, I think that only means that there is no reality of matter or space or time separately. All exists because of existence of consciousness. So this is another way to explain the same thing beautifully. A beautiful one by Albert Einstein. The intellect has little to do on the road to discovery. There comes a leap in consciousness, call it intuition or what you will, and the solution comes to you, and you don't know how and why. So, what Einstein is saying here is that your intellect means that distilled knowledge, the knowledge that has converted into wisdom that you apply in doing your actions and your plans, that's intellect. So, entering the subtle consciousness is not an intellectual activity. It's not that you think about, you plan and okay, now I'm going to be more conscious and I will enter a state of, super consciousness. This is not that simple, that you use your mind, your thought, your intellect, your wisdom, that you plan to, or you say to yourself, now, today I'm going to enter super consciousness. So Einstein is negating that. What he's saying instead is that if you sit calmly, your inner voice, sometimes you kind of have a question or a problem in your mind and it percolates deeper and deeper, and without effort, all of a sudden you have a revelation. That revelation comes from a sphere, a dimension which you have not probed, but it is coming up in your being and giving you the idea, giving you the solution. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you slept with a problem, and in the morning you have a solution. It's not because at night you are thinking about the problem and you solve the problem in your sleep. It just happens. So there is something deeper, subtler within you, in your inner voice, in your inner awareness, that comes to your rescue. If you are calm, restful, and have a deep desire to grow. This one is from Christian de Quincy. Scientists are in the strange position of being confronted daily by the indisputable fact of their own consciousness, yet with no way of explaining it. In other words, consciousness is not that is somewhere outside of you and it enters you. It is always present, but sometimes we don't recognize it. And certainly we cannot explain it. And scientists in general, as you know, deal with material world, the objective world, and this concept of consciousness is not something you can measure, you can experiment with, and you can apply scientific method of examining it or do gadgets and machine tools to conduct experiments and explain it to other people, and they repeat it and they find the same result. It's not that process. It is a process that is difficult to explain, and certainly in the scientific literature, even greatest scientists have always regarded consciousness as, quote unquote, the hard problem. Because it is not something that you can grasp easily and you can explain and write theories about it. So the hard problem of consciousness, I think, is now becoming a little softer in the last few decades, that people are searching and finding and questioning and getting revelations that they are conscious beings, not only material beings, and there is something more that exists beneath appearance. So there is a movement, and I feel we are moving in a direction, and in a rapid pace we will have better understanding, gradually, step by step. Here is another scientist, Amit Goswami. He says, physics explains phenomena, but consciousness is not a phenomena. Instead, all else are phenomena in consciousness. I think I have hinted something like this in reference to the previous quotation by Einstein, that scientists are now recognizing that beyond science is consciousness, on which all phenomena exist or originate from. So that's a good sign. Now, here is Edgar Mitchell, the astronomer. He says, in a high state of consciousness, we can enter into deep communication with the universe. I think he had conducted experiments also on his space journey to the moon, that he was connecting with some person on Earth and see if their thoughts can be coordinated or they can communicate through thought patterns. And that was a successful experiment. More about it later. I was lucky to have met him at a couple of conferences many years ago. So I'll tell you more about it later. Another scientist with very interesting observation, André Linde. I can't imagine a theory of everything that ignores consciousness. In the absence of observers, our universe is dead. The universe looks as if it existed before I started looking for it. The universe and the observer exist as one pair. This is a very interesting, despite the fact that this video is getting kind of long, but and I have already skipped some quotations on consciousness, but some I couldn't omit. So what André Linde is saying is that the universe outside and the observer in you exist as a pair. So what you observe outside is what you know about yourself. At that level, there is a correspondence, one-to-one correspondence. And this also refers to many sort of famous experiments, that what the fact that you are observing affects what is being observed. In other words, the observer effect. The observer has an influence on what is being observed. So what you observe is actually your interpretation of what you are seeing. Same thing has different impact on different people. They are seeing different things, although the object is the same, depending on their state of mind, for example. Atoms behave differently when you observe and when you don't observe. If the tree falls in the jungle, is there sound of tree falling? Well, sound exists because of your eardrums and mechanical signals converting into electrical impulses. That's how you recognize a sound. It's only vibration. This is a vibrational universe, and you hear the sound because you have ears. In your absence, there is no sound. Sound is for you. You see different colors because your eyes are made that way. If you had different eyes, if your eyes were truly watching something as it is, then you won't see colors. Because colors is a reflection from the object hitting your eyes. You won't hear a sound. It's only vibration at different frequencies. So it's getting a little complicated. But I just wanted to share this, my own understanding of this, that what I see in the world is a reflection of who I am. The deeper, the more conscious I am, the more hidden, subtle aspects of the world that I will be able to see and experience. So the deeper I am within me, the broader I see the universe and its subtleties. This one is from David Bohm, a great scientist. Deep down, the consciousness of mankind is one. Deep down, the consciousness of mankind is one. This is a virtual certainty, because even in a vacuum, matter is one. Even in a vacuum, matter is one. And if we don't see that, it's because we are blinding ourselves to it. So this is again a limitation of our mind, of sense of observation, that if we are not seeing the subtlety, the hidden truth, is because we have failed to observe. We have not tried hard enough. So it is not because it doesn't exist, it is because we fail to observe. Gosta Ehrensward, difficult to pronounce, says consciousness will always be above comprehensibility, which means if you understand it, how you understand it? Through your mind. Consciousness, mind is part of consciousness. Consciousness is not limited by mind. Mind is a speck in consciousness. So, to understand mentally or intellectually, to understand consciousness is not possible unless your mind becomes open and basically boundless. Your mental expansion will expose different dimensions of consciousness to you. So keep your mind open and calm, meditate, and you will gradually move toward a deeper awareness, deeper recognition of the depth of consciousness. Amaury de Reincourt says, also another short statement, consciousness is related to life as meaning is related to expression. Life is an expression of consciousness, same as expression reflects the meaning. So consciousness is present in everything, everywhere, but the expression is only partial in relation to consciousness. Consciousness is vast, expression is limited. Consciousness is not always fully expressed, it is partly expressed. And through that part, through that branch, you reach the root of the tree. Thank you for listening this long video episode on consciousness. There are many more that I have skipped, but we have already crossed 30 minutes. There is so much that can be said and has been said, but in this video we cannot cover all. But I hope that the quotations that I have read out to you with brief comment on each one will help in your own journey, which I hope you will pursue, and I hope you have been inspired to take on that journey and encourage your companions, your friends, especially children in your family, also to move in that direction. I feel children may be more open to explore than grown-ups because they don't have an opinion yet. So take advantage of that fact. Thank you again.